In the last episode, we have witnessed or we have reviewed the extremely brutal, the unimaginable and terrible torture and assassination of Sri Banda Singh by Bahadur Shah, the Mughal emperor. And if devil exists, that poor devil will be ashamed of his incapacity and his limitation to imagine similar torture or to reach the level of Bahadur Shah as that was suffered by Banda Singh. See the level of devilishness. In this episode, we will continue to review some more of such torture which the Islamic invaders or the Islamic devils committed on or exercised on the innocent Hindus to convert them to Islam. I have some more pictures to demonstrate to you, and you can evaluate them and derive your own conclusions. Many of the pictures I am going to show you in this episode, you can see also at the entrance of the Sikh temple in Delhi. So let us see them one by one. Here we have some pictures which tell us very clearly about the methods used by the Mughal barbarians to convert Hindus to Islam. Please watch this picture. I think it's better that I don't add any more words about this. You can just watch these pictures and see the degree of the torture, the cruelness of this torture suffered by the Hindus for having resisted to be converted to Islam. See, boiling a person in a big pot. Just watch these pictures. Here we have another picture of a carnage, a brutal assassination of 300 infant children in Lahore because their mothers refused to accept Islam. Here you can see, if you closely watch this picture, you can see a terrible Islamic devil has kept a child holding on its leg and cutting this child into pieces. See the terrible suffering, cruelty, and brutality Hindustan had to suffer from these devils. And here is another picture of the same event, that is the carnage of or the brutal assassination of 300 infants. You can see the cut pieces of these poor innocent children in the hands of their mothers for having refused to accept to be converted to Islam, the so-called religion of a God or so-called religion of the selected people of Allah. Again, this is a picture of the terrible torture of Banda Singh, about which we have seen in the last episode. That is, when Banda Singh refused to accept Islam, he was ordered to kill his child Ajay Singh. And when he refused to do so, what they did, they killed the little child, cut out his heart, and that heart was pushed or thrust into the mouth of Banda Singh. And even then, since he refused to be converted to Islam, what happened? We have seen in the last episode that he was tortured in such a way that both the eyes were taken out, gouged out, and the skin was removed, his limbs were cut off, and finally he was killed. We have seen that details in the last episode, and this picture is about that cruel assassination of Banda Singh by Bahadur Shah, the Mughal devilish emperor. And here we have another similar brutality, and that's of Bhai Mathidas, who was brutally murdered by the Muslims under Aurangzeb's orders. The torture and assassination of Banda Singh was as per the order of Bahadur Shah. But here, the torture and the brutal assassination of Bhai Mathidas was according to the order of Aurangzeb. See what was done. See how his arms were tied in a certain way and he was cut into two pieces. And don't you think that even devil will be ashamed of his incapacity to do such a seminal brutality. And in the schools, we were taught about Bahadur Shah, Aurangzeb, etc., as if they were some role models. I also believed so. I also believed that this Aurangzeb was a person to be respected, and also Bahadur Shah, the other emperor, he also should be respected, and they were all great people. But it took about 20 years for me to search and understand the brutality committed by these human devils. See another picture. This picture you can see just at the entrance of the Sikh temple in Delhi. Not only this picture, there are many similar pictures in front of similar tortures or similar brutality. As I have mentioned, even the cruelest devil will be ashamed of. And see the capacity of the human devils. These are all unimaginable scenes for the normal people or the common man. See, in order to create these type of the work and imaginations behind the creation of these type of instruments to torture the human beings. And this is the culture, and this is the divinity which was brought to Hindustan by these human devils from the Arab world. Don't be offended. I challenge the maximum believer of this religion to explain this type of brutality, to bring the souls of these poor people to Allah. When I see these type of creations of instruments to torture the people to convert to a certain religion, whatever be, whoever be the God behind that religion, what a God is that? A shame to that God. Just think about the imagination and the work behind creating these type of instruments to torture the people to convert into a certain religion. And is it the duty of these human devils to bring the Hindus to heaven through these type of methods? And now see this picture. This was a terrible scene during the assassination of the 300 infants in Lahore. Even a cruel devil will be frightened and will scream desperately and stridently if it happens to that devil to see such a horror. Shame to these human devils, but still, in spite of this continuous Islamic invasion since AD 700, the continuous looting and destructive domination for many years by this devilish population and their leaders, the Arabs, the Persians, the Turks, and the Mughals, until 1500 AD, Hindustan was still one of the richest nations in the whole world, economically, technically, scientifically, culturally, socially, and spiritually, as affirmed by well-known historians. And until 1600 AD, Hindustan had more than 23% of the world GDP. And if you want more details, you can also refer to the book, The Encyclopedia of Indian War for Independence, written by Sir M.K. Singh. And please remember, this book was banned by the first central government of Hindustan under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru. This is one of the many chapters of the true history of Hindustan. It cannot be forgotten. It cannot be buried. If you are really a true citizen of Hindustan, it is the obligation, or it is a moral obligation to know about the true history of our nation. If you don't know these true stories about your origin, if you don't know the nobility of your origin, if you don't know the true history of your ancestors, as the philosopher Marcus Tullius Cicero has stated, it is just like living like an infant, or more precisely, it's just like living as an idiot. It cannot be forgotten. It's not a simple thing. You have seen the terror behind, the cruelty, the torture Hindustan had to suffer. And even then, we could resist and come up to this stage, the present stage. Unfortunately, now we have a central government which knows the true history of Hindustan. And so it is very important that the citizen also should understand the true history, and then only they will be able to collaborate with the central government so that the original splendor and glory of the great nation can be recovered. In spite of all those we are to suffer from those brutal, devilish existences who came from outside to loot from Hindustan. And what we have seen till now is only a part of the history of the sufferings of Hindustan from the invaders. From the next episode onwards, we will see the arrival of the Portuguese and further devastations they have caused in Hindustan. In the last few episodes, we have seen the brutality, the torture, and the crime committed by the Islamic invaders and their rulers to force the citizens of Hindustan to be converted to Islam. But when the Portuguese came, what they did, still terrible things or still similar things, the same method, the same brutality, the same crime was also committed by the Portuguese to convert the population of Hindustan to Christianity. So, from the next episode onwards, we will be reviewing the whole history related to the arrival of the Portuguese and the crimes and the brutality and the terrible things those people committed in Hindustan. And that also is totally different from what we were taught in the schools. So thank you for having paid your kind attention to my words. See you in the next episode. Jai Hind.